Ladies and gentlemen, this is Your Place is called.
All right, everybody, back to one.
Stand by, lights one and sound one.
Camera speeding. Audio speeding.
Lights and sound, go.
And action. Hey, everybody, welcome back to Pretend World's Real People. As always, my name is Tyler, and this week we're releasing an episode a little bit early. We have our first ever live stream on YouTube set for Monday, February 21st at 8 p.m. Eastern Time. Should be a lot of fun. We're going to have Hawkeye's LARPers come and join us for the live stream and just play some games, have fun, chat a bit. It's going to be really cool. It's our first one, so we'll see. We'll see if we have any technical issues. Fingers crossed we don't. But I'm super excited to start doing that and just get a little more involved as far as what we can release through this medium more than just podcast episodes. So, given the fact that that is occurring on Monday, February 21st, 8 p.m. Eastern Time, I am releasing next week's episode a little bit early, and our guest for this episode is one of the stars of Peacemaker. He is actually closer to being Peacemaker himself because he does take a plethora of hits. He gets bruises, breaks, everything. His name is Spencer Thomas, and he is John Cena's stunt double and has been for close to about 5 or 6 years now. He's the badass of badasses, so let's just get into the conversation. It's a lot of fun. It was a joy to have him on the show. So without further ado, let's introduce Spencer Thomas.
I just looking at you on this recording, I feel so bad I didn't work out today. And I'm drinking beet juice, so it just seems it seems very, very just a little intimidating, but for good reason for who you're doubling. But yeah, it's Spencer Thomas, man. I went off on a tangent before we even really started, but thanks for coming on, dude, on your day
thanks
off
for having
shooting
me.
too.
Yeah, man. Thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
Yeah, I mean, did you have a good day off? I know you were busy. Was it Monday?
Yeah. We've been doing a lot of action scenes this last week. So a whole week of fight scenes and falling downstairs and climbing back up and going at it again a couple times. So it's been a busy week. It's been one of those weeks where it's like, oh shit, I might get hurt on this one, So a lot of mental gymnastics this week, but everything went off without a hitch. So enjoying the day off, that's for sure.
Well, this is sort of teetering on what you do, but if you wouldn't mind telling our listeners who you are and what you do for a living, they might be a little less concerned as to what you do on a day-to-day basis.
Sure. Yeah. I'm a stuntman. I've been a stuntman for 10 years now, and I'm John Cena's stunt double. So I've been doubling John Cena for 7 years now. And we've done movies, Transformers, Bumblebee, The Suicide Squad, Fast and Furious 9, Peacemaker, and just a whole bunch more. Playing with Fire, and Vacation Friends. Yeah, so I think this is our 10th film together.
Wow, man! I'll get into how you got started, but how did this happen? How did you come upon becoming John Cena's stunt double?
So I moved to LA. I think when I was 21, and I wanted to be an actor. I played football for years, and ended up not making it to the NFL. Surprise, 6 foot, 245-pound white guy not making it to the NFL. But so that was the goal. And when that closed off, I ended up moving to LA. And I got into acting, and I was like, oh, what do you have to do? What's the path? And for most people, the question I get is how do you get into acting? How do you get into stunts? And first you got to put in your time. You got to do extra work, or you got to do stand-in work. You got to do something to where you're on set and you're getting they call it what do they call it? SAG vouchers. So you got to get SAG vouchers every time you do a project, whether it's a non-union voucher or a union voucher. That's how you get into paying your dues and become a full-fledged SAG member and able to work on films. So I became an extra, and I started learning, everything behind the scenes. And we do our crosses in front of camera in the background and all that shit. I did that for years, just learning set and learning, what every position does. And I highly recommend, nobody wants at the time you're doing it, you're like, this is so exciting. I'm on a movie set. But as you get older and as you do it more and more, you're like, holy shit, you gotta go somewhere else. You gotta rise above to the next level. So for a lot of people, that's stand-in, photo double, or stunt double. And I was on set one day doing extra work, and they're like, who can drive a Hummer? And I'm like, holy shit, dude, I can drive a Hummer. Like, put me in. And so me and a couple guys get picked, and this is totally a stunt role. Extras should not be driving Hummers on set.
Oh
but,
God.
you know, they break the rules every now and then. And so me and a couple guys are driving these Hummers through tunnels, and these tunnels are super tiny. You turn left or right, you're going to take. I got two actors in my car, and we're pulling into the scene, and there's explosions going off, people getting hit by cars, and I'm just like, holy shit! And I see these stunt guys getting wrecked, and I'm like, what is this? Like, I want to do what they're doing, So I link up with those guys at lunch and start talking, chatting with them, and one of the guys, his name was Ilram Choi, and I didn't know it at the time, but he's one of the greatest stunt guys that ever was. He and I just hit it off, and he's like, dude, come train with us, come see what it's all about. And so I trained with Ilram for 6 months, and just kind of learning the basics of angles and fights, and learn how to flip and fall and take reactions and things like that. And he ended up going off on a movie and leaving me to my own devices. So I just kind of kept chasing it, and meeting new people and making connections within the stunt industry. And I was doing side hustles, doing stunts for like $100 a day for student films, getting wrecked, trying to get footage that you could send to a coordinator so he can hire you on a real job. I was doing personal training at the time, serving tables, working as a production assistant cameraman on a show, doing whatever I could to kind of just keep money coming in so that I could fuel this, desire to kind of learn more about stunts. I put everything pretty much I had into, just focusing on like becoming a stunt guy. And it's funny, I got a phone call from her name's Brandy from Central Casting. It's the casting agency does extra work. Yeah. So out in LA. So she's like, hey, we got an actor. He's massive. You were the only guy I can think of to double him. Like, we need a photo double and body double. And so I was like, okay, great. I do 3 rounds of auditions with like 10 other guys, and we try on wardrobe. And I eventually get picked, and it's to double John Cena for the first time. And it's on a movie called The Wall. And at the time, as I was becoming a stuntman, I got out of college. I was 245 pounds of fucking solid muscle, most of it my legs. I was just built like a tank. And a lot of my stunt guys were like, hey man, you're never going to find an actor that's that big, so you got to drop weight. So the past year I'd been trying to drop weight, and I got down to like 220. And then I get on set with John Cena, and he's 250 pounds. And I'm just like, holy shit. But in the back of my head, I'm like, I could gain my weight back and I could double this guy,
Yeah.
And so it just kind of clicked for me there did 17 days out in Palmdale in the desert. It's 110 degrees. We're in full military uniform, supposed to be in Afghanistan. It's a movie called The Wall with John Cena and Aaron Taylor Johnson. And I don't want to spoil the movie for anybody, but early on, John gets injured. And he's down on the ground for a little bit in film. And so a lot of that film was me laying there in the dust, in the dirt, and fire ants, and the sun's beating on you. And every day at 2:00, a sandstorm would kick up. So you're eating dust for the next 6 hours of filming. And we did have a stunt coordinator on the set, and he kind of didn't really pay me much attention because I was just we had some stunt guys come in and do some falls, and there was a scene towards the end of the movie that I'd known about where a helicopter comes flying in, and it lands, and stunt guys jump out. They they rescue some guys, and they put them back in the chopper. And I was begging the stunt coordinator for the first half of the film, like, hey man, like, put me in that helicopter. Can I do that helicopter? Like, I'm a stunt guy. Like, I've done a ton of student films, He's like, come on, whatever, kid, like, get out of here, And so they didn't end up letting me do the scene, but I got to be the guy laying there. Well, the helicopter comes flying over, and it comes flying in probably like 40 feet above me. And it does this thing called a brownout. So we're in the desert, and helicopters, obviously, they whirl and swirl. So the sand is just, it's a brownout. You can't see anything. There's sand in your eyes and your lungs. And I'm supposed to be laying there playing like I'm knocked out. I'm unconscious. And so I'm like trying to hold my breath, but breathe. And underneath the helicopter, it's essentially like a vacuum. So it just sucks all the air out of your lungs. And so I'm laying there like, holy fuck, dude, I should be getting paid stunt rates for this, man, in my head. But so from that film, I had a cool conversation with John, and he was just such a, genuine, down to earth guy. People like these young kids would try and bring in an umbrella to cover him from the sun. And he's like, a lot of times he'd say no. And one of the times he took the umbrella from the kid and gave him a water and held the umbrella for him, like that's just the kind of guy Cena is. And I just kind of seeing him on set, this guy's, he's a real dude, he's not here to get pampered or, live that, or act like that movie star, typical ego that you'd see. I was like, this is a genuine dude. We had some real cool conversations just that first time from working together. Excuse me. And from that film, I ended up just being like, holy shit, I made that my goal. My one and only thing was like, I need to double this guy. Like, and at that point, John was I think that was only his third movie that he'd done, like a real action film that he'd done. So he was up and coming, and so was I. Like, man, I think I could follow this guy. So I just kind of, I don't want to say I stalked him, but I found out every single project that he would do after that, and I'd apply for it. And I kept getting the role. So I would double John on a commercial, and then I doubled John on like, some random like little talk show, or, or whatever it was. And it just became a thing where, every time John had worked in LA, I would be the guy, And I ended up getting a call a year later from that to work on Transformers Bumblebee. And, I think we did 6 months of shooting, starting from Santa Cruz, went all the way up to Yosemite, and then ended in Big Bear.
Oh,
and
wow.
So we ended up going, after that, we did 6 months of shooting, 2 more commercials together. And then on the reshoots of Bumblebee, we were all standing around like this crater. There's supposed to be this big explosion going on. We got a bunch of stunt guys, wrapped with, ready for ratchets, which are, hydraulic pressure system, just tossing them, like an explosion goes off. So John's standing there with us, and he looks over at me and he goes, hey man, like, we've been working together quite a bit now. How come you never say what's up? And in my head, I'm like, holy shit, I didn't think that I could really talk to you. I'd come in and I'd do my stunt, or I'd do my, my job, and I'd get out. I'd kind of just stay out of his way. I didn't want to fanboy. I didn't want to say something stupid and, ruin my chances of continuing to double the guy. Exactly. Keep it professional. And that was my mindset. I was like, I'm just going to keep it professional, not going to try be buddy with this guy. And so he actually was like, yo, dude, like, what are you trying to do? Like, what's your goal? I was like, well, stuttering, like, I don't know what I want to do. And he's like, well, he said, fortune favors the bold, you got to ask the hard questions. So what do you want to say? And I was like, well, I want to be your double. Like, I want to double you. Like, and I want to know what the next movie is you're working on, so I can double you on that. He's like, well, we're going to China next. We're going to be working with Jackie Chan, and I don't know if he has his own stunt guy, but give me your contact info and I'll let you know. And so I gave my info, airdropped it to his phone, and text him a couple times, like, keep me posted. And he would, man. And 4 months later, I get an email from the translator from China and negotiating contracts. And I put on another 15 pounds, got back up to 245, and I roll into China, like jacked out of my mind, ready to go. But John had already been there for 2 months. So he'd been training his ass off, stretching and working with the Jackie Chan stunt team. He dropped 15 pounds. So I roll into the training gym that day in China, and he's like, what the fuck are you doing here? And I told him, I was like, bro, I told you I'm here to double you, And, he goes, well, fuck. He's like, you're going to have to either drop weight or I'm going to have to gain weight because you are way too big right now. And sure enough, I was like, in my head, I'm like, I fucked up, And so within 2 weeks, I was able to drop 15 pounds because just we're working our asses off 7 days a week in China, and it's hot, and there's not a lot of nutritional food out there. So we kind of we dropped weight, and all of a sudden we're like the exact same measurements, the exact same size, and did that movie for 6 months. And at the end of it, he's like, yo, bro, what do you think about Canada? And I was like, I've never been to Canada. I don't know. He goes, well, we're going there next. I decided to put you on my contract. You'll be with me from now on. And I'm just
whoa,
like, dude, what the fuck, dude? So we crushed this Chinese movie, man, with Jackie Chan. It hasn't come out yet. This is 5 years ago. And we absolutely crushed it. I did more stunts on that film than I'd ever done in my life up until that point, and some gnarly shit. And I'm really hoping it releases on Netflix soon. But that movie kind of made me and John's relationship what it is kind of today, or at least spark that, you know, what the fuck do you call it?
It's like
Spark that
almost like
partnership.
symbiotic
Yeah,
relationship, you know, to
exactly. So
holy shit, man. Well, just, you know, thinking about you know, essentially just, yeah, being bold and taking a chance and saying, no, if this is what I want, manifesting it, but him calling you out and saying, hey,
yeah,
uh, we should talk, like let's get to know each other a little bit more, and then you being on his contract is nuts, dude. So I mean,
yeah, man.
obviously you've done, you know, about 10 films, 10 projects with him now. What is it like on a day to day for you? Are you guys I mean, it's kind of funny coming from somebody who, you know, is also a personal trainer and looks at, you know, those sort of dietary and like workout needs, but what is it like, you know, your day to day when you're not working on a project with him? Are you guys still staying in touch, like, hey, I'm thinking about either dropping weight for this possible next role, not sure yet, you know, just be prepped? Or is it more of a we'll
Yeah.
get to it when we get to it?
Yeah, I mean, I kind of have gotten familiar with the way that John operates, I guess. And, you know, for some films like Fast, I think that I knew that he was bulking up. Okay, I can bulk up. And then for Peacemaker and Suicide Squad, I knew that he started to drop weight, and we had that conversation beforehand. And, you know, he told me, you know, we're going leaner. Leaner is better. And so I knew, you know, and so I kind of get these little tidbits from him, you know, before we leave the job most of the time. And yeah, when we're off work, which is, you know, probably 3 months out of the year, we're literally working nonstop together, which is great. But when we're not working together, you know, we'll drop a line, drop a text every now and then, and just be like, "Hey, man, how's things going? You know, what's your weight at? What's your hair look like? Send me a picture." You know, things like that, just so I can kind of be prepped for the next job, and you know, always kind of just look the best to double him. So we've had jobs before where I get to set, my hair's totally different than his, and they just throw a wig on me. Then I'm wearing a wig for 5 months, and it's a nightmare. Like, shout out to the hair ladies, hair department, but that thing is painful. Like, so your best bet is coming looking just like him, you know?
Well, I gotta know, man, have you always been, I mean, you played football, but have you
Mhm.
always been somebody who, I don't want to say is like an adrenaline junkie, but just, you know, like if somebody offers you a ride on a dirt bike in the middle of the mountains and the thing is souped up to nothing, are you going to be the first one to jump on that thing and take a ride, or are
You
you
know, for
more meticulous about
for
it?
me, I'm more about calculated, you know, calculated chaos.
Okay. All right.
If that's a real thing. And
Yeah.
but
Oh,
in the
absolutely.
past, like when I was younger, man, it was just like, oh yeah, let's jump on this bike and gun it, you know. But as I've gotten older in this industry and um, started to realize like it's more about longevity and how long you can do the job, you know. And when I was younger, we'd do rope swings and do all kinds of cliff jumping and crazy shit, just be, you know, dumb kids. And as I'm getting older, I'm like, you know, like we'll go out to the lake with my bros, and there's a sketchy rope swing. Like you got to clear the rocks to get to the water, but it's there, you know, you can make it. And this was last summer, and we're off, you know, because of COVID. And my brother just jumps on there. You know, he's 28, and he jumps on there and swings out like a banshee and does a backflip and lands in the water, misses the rock by this much. I'm like, oh fuck, okay. Then I go, same thing, hit my backflip, missed the rock by that much. And after the first one, I was like, you know what? I'm not getting paid for this, so I'm just not going to do it. You know,
Yeah.
if it's if I'm doing a stunt like on Peacemaker where it's like, hey, we need you to dive, you know, head first towards that balcony railing, it's like, okay, how much you paying me? You know. So in that instance, I'm on set. If I get hurt, you know, they take care of me. If I'm outside of work and I do something dumb, nobody's taking care of me but myself. So I've become much more aware about calculated risk. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, now you are contracted, you are tied to John, so I'm sure that makes it
Exactly.
all the more difficult to say, "Hey, I'll go water skiing this weekend, but I'm not doing anything crazy." You know what I mean? Because if you're out, you're
Man,
out.
we did 8 months filming in Vancouver, Canada, and the mountains are 20 minutes away. Literally, you can jump on a bus and be there in, you know, 15-20 minutes. And I was dying to go snowboarding, but I was like, if I get hurt snowboarding on Peacemaker, there's nobody to replace me. Like,
Yeah.
I would stop the show, you know. So I do have to take those into consideration. And sometimes it sucks, but sometimes I thank myself later because every time I go snowboarding, I bruise my tailbone. So, and I know that about
Oh,
myself. You know?
yeah, you know your
I know
body, you know
that.
what you're capable of.
I know my boundaries. Yeah, for sure. So, I keep my workouts 5 days a week, and try and do some light, sparring if there's a gym around for fighting, or hit the bag and things like that, and try and stay active in that way. But the extreme sports outside of work is not happening right now. So
Well, I will say we've talked to a couple different stunt performers in LA. We talked to one in Australia who was in Mortal Kombat last year, and there's always a really big injury story, especially the first one. I mean, have you ever,
yeah.
hopefully you haven't, but have you injured yourself to the point where you're like, I might be out for a little bit?
Yeah, oh yeah. On Transformers Bumblebee, I get bitch slapped by Bumblebee, just backhanded super hard,
Oh, yeah.
and I'm on a wire, and I land weird. I land. We have pads down. I have these combat boots on, and my right boot. I just didn't focus on lacing it up. I just didn't do it good enough. It should have been tight, and I left it a little loose. I was wearing lifts at the time because I thought at that time, like, John's a half an inch taller than me. Like, at that time, I was like, I have to be as tall as him. I have to, but we're never standing right next to each other, so nobody will ever know. So wearing these lifts, and I do a stunt where I land sideways on my feet. I toe tap, or I attempt to toe tap, and my foot gets caught in the mat, and it's a rehearsal. This is the second take, and I roll my ankle so bad, like I felt it stick in, and my body smacks the ground. I'm like, I stood up and I yelled the F word, and I tied my boot as tight as I could, and we went 8 more takes,
Oh,
to concrete, and yeah, I knew right then, like, I tore 3 ligaments in my ankle, and detached my calf from my ankle, and I didn't realize it at the time. So of course my leg swells up, my foot's all swollen, but I have to finish the night, so I leave my foot in the boot for the next 5 hours and put my foot up in my trailer, and that was my stunt for the day. Oh, after I did that stunt, I hobbled over to John. I was like, man, can we get a picture? Just trying to not to grimace. And he's like, absolutely. So I actually have that photo, and you can see the half smile on my face is like total pain, and John's like cheesing. And that was like my first real movie with John, so I didn't want to fuck it up. And we had 3 more weeks to go. So luckily, I get home that night and take my boot off. My ankle's like the size of a watermelon, and it's all black and blue. And I'm just like, fuck, like, looking at my girl. I was like, do I go to the hospital? Like, if I go to the hospital tonight, I'm probably not gonna be able to go to work tomorrow.
yeah.
And so I was like, I'll just tough it out. And so I tough it out for the next 3 weeks. Luckily, I'm riding around in a Hummer, passenger in a Hummer, doing body double stuff for John. So I got to kind of rest my ankle from stunts, but I should have taken care of it. I should have gotten it checked out, because now my left calf is like disintegrating. Like, I can see it now. My other calf is massive. My left calf just won't even react. So it's one of those things where it's like, oh, I thought it was my ankle, but it was actually to be my calf. And I did rehab for it. I did rehab for 4 months, and I even took work in between that time. And I shouldn't have. I should have taken the time to heal. And I get to set for these other jobs where it wasn't doubling John, and they're like, we need you to sprint across the parking lot, jump this wall, and land down on the other side, and then keep sprinting across the street. And I'm like, fuck, like,
Yeah.
of course it would be running. And so, I get there that night, and I do 2 takes, and my coordinator comes over to me and goes, hey man, we can see you're limping on camera. Can you, can you just run it full out? I was like, yeah. Cause I told him, no, I'm fine. I can do the job. And so I was like, yeah. And so I just toughen it out, and I sprint as hard as I can, as straight as I can. And we get the shot, and I'm just in agony. This is probably 2 months after Transformers. So it's one of those things, like, you got to pay attention to your body. That was a learning lesson, like a big lesson for me early on stunt career. And then on Peacemaker, I ended up dislocating my shoulder and tearing my labrum and my rotator cuff, and that was probably 5 months ago. So I ended up getting stem cell surgery 3 months later, and what did I say, 5-6 months? I'm almost at like 90% recovery now. So
Really? Wow.
yeah, man. So
Holy shit, man.
I was very
That is the most stunt story I've ever heard in my life. Yeah, just just tore from the ankle and the calf is it. Jesus, man.
So
I mean, yeah, you're paying attention to your body, as you get older. What's your recovery like then? Do you have a certain regimen you follow, or are you just kind of? I mean, you're in LA, so I'm sure it's probably like one of the better places to go to different like clinics and have acupuncture, go for a stretch lab, or what's your regimen like for just recovery?
Recovery, I'm big on physical therapy and rehab and things like that. And scraping, they do this thing they call scraping. I'm sure it's where they wear down the cartilage, or it's awful. So they'll ice
It feels so good.
It's pretty bad, but they're breaking down the scar tissue and the cartilage to help create blood flow and range of motion and things like that. And so they'll ice it, and then they'll scrape it, and then they'll do like a stem, which is electrotherapy, and then they'll do some kind of compression boot that they'll do on you. So everything, all in all, it takes about an hour. You do it 3 days a week, or however intense you want to be with it. And then you got to do the gym side of it, where it's condition those muscles or those joints back to where they need to be. And it's a lot. It's a full-time job, I think, just kind of rehabbing injury, or maintaining your body to be able to take these injuries and then recover and keep going. So it's kind of it's kind of a learning curve. But I'm used to kind of getting injured and having to overcome from playing football. I broke both my ankles playing football growing up. I've broken fingers and things like that playing football. So it's one of those things. Is how to be comfortable being uncomfortable, and how to just kind of have that mindset where it's like, okay, I'm down right now, but I'm going to get better. And you physically and mentally have to push yourself to get back to that point. Because I know a lot of guys who will get injured and just get down on themselves and be like, fuck it, and just play Xbox and eat ice cream, and next thing you know, you're, taking a year to recover, rather than 5 months to 3 to 5 months, so it's one of those things where, paying attention to your body is huge. And the maintenance is like, a lot of people work hard to get to it, but they don't think about the maintain part, and that's become a lot more relevant to me the last couple of years of doing this job.
I'm sure it's not cheap either. All that rehab and physical therapy, and make sure everything's, or is that is that covered by the Cena contract?
So no. So as a SAG member, you have if you make above a certain amount, you certify for health benefits and health insurance. So it's actually really great insurance. So I get I think I get 21 physical therapy visits a month that are included in my insurance, and things like that. And then just out of pocket for the stems, the gym membership and all those other things. But I figure they're write-offs at the end of the year. And if it's one of those things where it's like, if this keeps me going, I'm investing in myself. I'm not buying cars and fucking Rolexes and all this other stuff. I'm investing in myself so that I can reap the benefits later and continue to work. So that's kind of my mindset about it. It does get pricey. I think stem cell cost me around $7,000 altogether, so,
sweet Jesus. Wow.
Yeah.
And I'm the one, I've been SAG eligible for like 5 years and have not taken that leap yet. So just thinking about, $7,000 opposed to, what, the 3 that it costs, that's bonkers, man. I mean, do you see yourself sticking with John, or do you have plans further on down the road to kind of do your own thing? What are you thinking, or balancing both, I should say?
So for me, John's my first priority. He gave me these opportunities to be where I'm at, and to get to this level. And until John's done, I'm gonna stick through it with him. And on the day he's like, okay, man, I'm done acting, I'm gonna chill. I've made it to where I want to be. Then I can start focusing on my direction and where I want to go. But I feel like every single set that I work on, every person that I meet on set, I'm building a reputation in this industry, and I'm meeting some of the biggest directors and producers and stunt coordinators and department heads, hair, makeup, camera, all that stuff, and just kind of making a name for myself on set, where it's like, I'm one of those guys that comes in, I work hard, I have a smile on my face, I'm always, usually pretty easy to work with, unless you are doing something stupid to piss me off, like I'm very understanding. Yeah. But if it's a safety thing and you hurt me or my buddies or John, like we're gonna have issues, you know. So I think that as I'm doing this, I'm kind of setting that foundation for whatever comes next. And for me, I'm kind of, my mindset is either, you know, I want to get into acting, or I want to get back in acting, or I want to become a stunt coordinator and then work my way up to second unit directing and then eventually directing. So I think that would be like the ultimate goal, you know, direct your own action movies. So
Oh, that'd be amazing, man. It
yeah.
seems like you're in the right spot for that to be, you know, something you can achieve sooner rather than later. And even, you know, doubling for John, are you, I don't want to say are you offered, but is there a chance for you to be on camera as another character than just as double, or is it more so I'm just going to focus on the stunts? I don't really need to do
Yeah, for me right now, like, you know, and John's actually talked about, he's, you know, if there's like a small role where I can run in, get shot, or, you know, come in, say a line, something, whatever, you know, I was like, that'd be awesome if I could do something like that. And John's like, for sure, you know, I'll keep you in mind. And even on this film, they wanted to have me play another role, but I told them that it would cost another rate, and they didn't want to do that. So
of course not.
like, yeah, it's all about the money, man.
Yeah.
So it's just one of those things where it's like, I feel as John's double, like I'm, you know, I'm my job is for you not to know that John has a double. You know, you want to see the action star doing all the action. Like, I don't want to take that away from, you know, from John. You know, and the man can fight. The man can, you know, throw down. He can do, you know, pretty much anything. I've seen him do a shit ton of stuff where I'm just like, dude, John's essentially a stunt guy himself. He literally makes my job so easy. Because we this last week, the last 2 weeks, we've been creating a fight. Me and my stunt coordinator, and we've been creating this fight and going over these technical moves, kind of Krav Maga, kind of knife work, and
Cool.
it's very high speed and, you know, quick disarms and things like that. And you know, it's like a dance. It's probably a 35 beat. And when I say beat, it's like that every move you do is a beat. And so it's like a 35 beat fight. And John comes in on day one and learns it. And it's like, and he knows the fight on day one. And I'm just like, holy fuck, like that makes my job way easier. And then the director sees it and he's like, oh, I don't like the fight, change it. So we changed the fight. And it's, you know, it's a similar thing, but it's totally different. John comes in 2 days later, learns the fight again. And, you know, it's one of those things, like most actors will come in and be like, I need like 2 weeks with this shit, man. Like, you guys changed the fight now. They'd freak out. Like, you know, John comes in, he's like, no, dude, done. Boom, boom, boom. And he's like, just send me a videotape of it and I'll rehearse it in my hotel room on my own. We're like, okay, done. You know, that's all the stunt training you get with John, because he's about his time. And he's like, dude, like, I can do this shit, no problem. So seeing him be able to come in and perform like that, it's like people are like, oh, was that you on camera doing the fights? Typically it's all John when it comes to the fight stuff. Yeah. So
is there a particular stunt that you've done recently that you were just you had a it could have been incredibly painful, but you had just a blast doing? Is there one that sticks out to you?
Yeah, I don't know if you've seen Peacemaker yet.
I'm addicted, man.
Yeah, okay, cool. Hell yeah. So the first episode is the rocker chick fight, and John escapes from the hotel doing the balcony jumps, and that was me doing the balcony jumps. And it was a lot of fun rehearsing for that stuff, and it was a lot of like everything changed, constantly. James, he knew what he wanted, and we'd show him stuff. He'd be like, no, that's not it. Finally, I take the last jump to the railing to my chest, face first. And he's like, that's it. That's the one I want. So we did it twice in rehearsal. And then 3 weeks later, we go to shoot it. And it's one of those stunts where it's like, shit, man, like you really got to commit if you're going to, make sure you don't take your teeth or you don't miss the railing. And you got to trust your riggers. My rigging team was on point, a bunch of good old boys from Canada. And, these guys are ice rock climbers and, skydivers and mountain bikers. And they're just, some of the smartest guys I've ever worked with. And so they rigged it so that I'm on a wire. so that they can slow me down at the last second so I don't take the full weight of my body impact into my ribs. But then they have to release me a millisecond later so that I can look like I wasn't caught up, that actually, you know, took that full impact and then collapsed into the balcony. So that stunt, it was one of those ones where beforehand you're just like, you know, you tell yourself like you got to fully commit, because if you don't, something's going to go wrong. So I knew taking off, I stepped on, you know, I'm on level ground. I step on an apple box, and then I step on the railing, and then I dive head first. Probably, you know, I dive out, I reach out to go grab the other railing, and I hook my foot on the back so that I don't get enough, you know, momentum off, and I go boom straight down to my chest, knock the fucking wind out of myself, almost fall off the balcony. I grab back on with no air in my lungs, pull myself back up, fall into the balcony, and I just lay there with the wind knocked out of me, like dying. The whole set, everybody on set's silent, and they're just like, "You okay?" You know, good. Give them the thumbs up. You know, I'm good. So, and James loved it. One take and done. But that stunt was a lot of fun, and that's one of those ones where it's like, oh, I'm putting that on the fucking stunt reel for sure, you know. So that stunt, really took the breath out of me, literally.
I can see it in my mind just thinking back on that shot too. knowing how much that probably, you know, maybe not hurt, but getting the wind knocked out of you for sure is.
Oh, it hurt. And
oh,
you know, because
man,
we had done it twice in rehearsal already, and I'm like, if anything goes wrong, like I'm either going to miss, and you know, the guys are going to have to save me from falling another 20 feet to the floor, or I'm going to take my teeth out. So I don't want to go too short, and I don't want to go too far. And if I fuck it up, and if I hesitate, we're probably going to have to do it again. You know, so it's like, try and get that one and done. You know, get it in a single shot and move on. You know, and I kind of made a name for myself on the Peacemaker set, being able to do something, you know, one and done. I feel like I am able to take direction really well. And that's one thing that is super underplayed, I believe, as a stunt guy. Like just do what you're told. Like if the coordinator makes an adjustment, or a director makes an adjustment and wants you to do this, listen to exactly what the hell he says and just do it. Because then you're going to have one take, or you're going to have two takes, and you're going to keep moving. So, and it's something I've seen happen quite a bit, where stunt performers and even actors just aren't listening, and they want to do their own thing, or they want to ad lib or add their own spin on it. And it's like, no, dude, just do what you're told, you know, listen to direction.
Yeah. As much as people, you know, hear "be bold," I feel like they take that phrase a little too far. You know, when you're on a set and you're working for somebody else, yeah, you know, you can make choices, but if somebody gives you a little piece or maybe a big piece of advice, like, hey, switch this up, just do it. It's just, and that's going to carry your career so much further than those who don't listen, because you're able to work together. And that's just, it's great to hear that John's awesome to work with as well. It's not one of those, it's not, I mean, you've seen it too, where a lot of those bigger actors just go to their trailer. They don't care. I mean, they don't need to care, but they just kind of, they do their own thing, and then you do your shot, and that's it, man. Like it's nuts. But it's really cool to hear that you have that relationship with the person you're doubling, and it's, you know, more of a symbiotic, it's a friendship. It's, from what it sounds like, it's a partnership, and you guys care about the project. I mean, it's also cool thinking of how many places you've traveled to do this job. And I'm sure, especially with like Fast 9, you know, seeing all these different locations, do you have a favorite that you look back on for like an off day where you just went to go explore, or have you not quite found it yet?
No, you know, we've been all over the last couple of years. We've been, we just got back actually from Dubai and Abu Dhabi, and we did a commercial out there. That was like the pinnacle of just like mind blowing, you know. And it was just like, how is this work? How am I getting paid? And, you know, going there and the first 11 days, it was a tough job. We got it done though. And, you know, and I was like, I loved it so much that I was like, oh, I'm staying. Like I stayed an extra like 6 days, and me and my girl got to stay and enjoy the beach and the surf. And, you know, we met some really amazing people, some stunt guys out there that are skydivers, and, you know, some guys out there that are creating this new production company that's, primarily based out of Dubai. So they're going to start
Oh,
making
no
more
way.
films in Dubai and make Dubai a film hub is kind of their idea. But just seeing that part of the world and that culture, and getting the opportunity to travel like that, it's just like it's not somewhere I'd ever go. In my personal life, just like, oh, hey, let's make a trip to Dubai. It only costs hundreds of thousands of dollars. It feels like to go, which it's the plane ticket's the most expensive part. Once you get there, it's actually really affordable.
Really? Oh,
Which
wow.
is crazy. Yeah. So their
Yeah.
one of the biggest hotels, Atlantis, with the diving fish tank inside of it in the mall.
Oh,
It's
yeah.
It's like $88 a night to stay there.
What?
So once you get there, I mean, I think the plane tickets, I think we flew first class, so it was like 10 grand, but
Jesus.
that's that's on production. They got to pay for all that stuff. And
Oh
they
my
did, man.
God.
They were so accommodating, and it was just like, how does this work? How do we get to this level? And so that, I think Dubai was really one of those moments for me where it was just like, holy shit, like this is mind blowing. But we've been all over. We've been to London, and Scotland was amazing. Um, Panama, Puerto Rico, Colombia right now doing a film. So it's just like getting to travel. I think it's a whole nother element to it where it's, you feel blessed, and you got to, remind yourself how blessed you are, and just be thankful for it. Cause I think, the other day when we finished the fight, the stunt guys and the actors all together and with John, and we took a picture, and, to kind of commemorate that day, to remember it. And it was just like, texting John later, he's like, dude, he's like, we are blessed. And I was like, absolutely, man. Like I couldn't have said it better myself. Like, we got to remember, even when we have hard days, when it's on set and we're, sweating, or, somebody actually gets hit in the face, or, whatever it is, it's like, we're still blessed to be here.
Yeah,
So
you're living the I don't want to say you're living the dream, because this is your dream that you manifested, but it's just cool hearing that from somebody who is a working actor and stunt performer. Like, you're 3 months at home maybe throughout the year, and the rest you're just
yeah.
you're hard at work, man. What keeps you sane when you're not working? Do you have any hobbies? Is there anything you like to do that just kind of helps you relax, kind of decompress a little bit?
I like video games. I love video games, man.
There
I've
you
been
go.
playing Halo. I've been Halo nonstop. The gym, just meeting new people out here, and kind of just getting to know, kind of the locals and my new crew. It's a new crew every film that I work on, and a lot of stunt guys get to work in the same team consistently with the same people, and becomes this club or this clique. Which I've noticed in LA a lot more and more, talking to my other friends that are stunt guys, that are outside of those cliques. They're like, you can't get in, man. Like, you can't work with these guys. Like, they look down on you, kind of thing. And you're not in the club, it's like high school,
Oh yeah.
So for me, it's great because I'm constantly on new sets, and I'm constantly meeting new people and new stunt coordinators, new stunt performers. And, I kind of, John said to me one time, he's like, hey man, like, you adapt really well. Like, you don't have any problem in going to a new location and making friends, and, getting along with everybody. And I never really thought about it, but, I kind of I have that personality where it's like, I want to meet you. I want to get to know you. Like, tell me your life, um, and I'm very social like that. So it makes it easy. It makes it fun. And I feel like over the past couple of years, like, I literally could call somebody anywhere in the world and be like, yo man, I'm in town. And they'd be like, let's kick it. Let's go,
Oh,
So
that's so
it's,
cool.
that's been a cool aspect of it too. So, but yeah, as for my off time, it's, hang with the crew, or,
Yeah.
Play some Xbox, or work out, or go explore. I think tomorrow I'm going to go to, the top of one of these mountains here and check out one of these cool, I forgot, shit, I suck. I forget the name of it, but it's like this cool church that's like overlooks the entire city. So, those type of things. Yeah. It kind of keeps me sane. I stay in touch with my girlfriend a lot. She does hair department in Vancouver, Canada.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, and so we met on a film out there, and so she keeps me sane. Sometimes she'll fly out and see me wherever I am, or if I'm off, we'll go on vacation or do something cool. But yeah, man, that's pretty much my life is in a hotel right now. If you can tell, like,
Yeah,
this is it.
it's the was it the nomadic lifestyle? working on film and TV. And
yeah,
then,
but I wouldn't trade it. I wouldn't trade it for anything.
yeah, I mean, it's either, take a chance on this or settle down and work in an office and
Yeah,
think about, oh, what could have been, or if I
yeah,
had done
can't,
this.
not happening.
You can't do that. You can't do that,
Yeah,
man. Wow, that's so cool just thinking about it. As far as your stunt career, we like to ask our guests, if they have a party story. So it could be
sure.
something crazy that happened. Maybe it's something
Oh,
fun. Maybe it's something that was just
yeah,
like, this was the worst day of my life. But do you have
yeah.
a story you could share with our listeners that you will always tell at a party?
So this is pretty insane. So on Fast 9, I was working with Martin Ford. I think he's like 6'9" or 6'10" or something like that. Massive monster of a
He's
man.
huge.
One of the nicest guys like you'll ever meet, which you would have never expected.
Really?
He's got this big shit-eating grin and like these pearly white teeth and just super nice, My mom came to visit set one time and he was like saying hi to her and, just getting along, just super, super chill guy. He beat the shit out of me on set. We had a big fight scene and kicked me in the room a couple times while I had a bruised sternum. But anyway, so he invites me out. He's like, "Hey man, next weekend, I got a buddy in town. It's his birthday. It's a surprise party. So we're gonna go check it out. You want to come?" Like, fuck yeah, let's go. He's like, "This guy's kind of like a big ladies man. Like, the party should be cool. We'll have fun." I was like, "Okay, cool." And so, I get how do I say this without spoiling it? Another buddy of mine flies into town who works with this big actor, and he's like, "Dude, I'm doing Comic-Con right now. Like, come through." And I was like, "I'm on set, but I'm going to this party tonight. Do you want to go?" And he's like, "I'm going to a party tonight." I was like, "Really?" He's like, "Yeah, I think we're going to the same party." So I get there, meet up with him and Martin, and we're standing there, and fucking Jason Momoa walks in the door. It's Jason Momoa's birthday party, and he was there for Comic-Con in London. And so like they literally have like a Guinness beer machine that's printing Jason's face and happy birthday on Guinness, and they had a whiskey beer cake, and like Gal Gadot's like stunt doubles there, like at like what is it, Emily, what's her name from Game of Thrones, shows up, like fucking like
yeah.
It's just like holy shit, like like we have a great conversation. It just was one of those nights where it was just like, holy shit, like how is this our life right now, partying in this penthouse with Martin Ford and Jason Momoa and Amelia and like all these people. Like it was just one of those nights where you would just never expect it to happen. It's like some shit out of a movie, right?
Yeah.
So we had a blast that night. I actually Jason had gotten this whiskey. I'll never forget this, man. Had gotten this whiskey and somebody poured him a glass, and I'm pretty drunk. We're all talking, and I'm talking with my hands. And Jason turns. When I turn, I knock the whiskey out of his hand, and it shatters. Glass shatters all over the floor. Jason's not wearing any shoes. He's got a sarong on. He's like fucking just being some island boy, And I'm like stunned. Like I don't know what to do. Like like fuck, I gotta clean this glass up. All these chicks come running in, sweeping the glass up, and he's like, "Well, don't make the hot girls clean it up." And I was like, "Oh shit, you're right." So I help clean it up, and then later that night we bullshit and have a good conversation. And he's just super chill, down to earth dude. And it's funny because I'm excited. It sounds like Fast 10 will be working together with him as well. So
I just saw that.
Yeah, kind of full circle. So
wow, dude.
I'm excited to link back up with those guys and catch up, see what they've been doing. After last I talked to them, that was before they did Dune. So
oh wow, yeah. So things have changed a little bit since then.
Oh yeah, big time.
Wow.
So,
holy crap, man. Those parties are, that is a party story for sure. Because those are the only parties where, unless you're in this industry and you've been around them, nobody believes you.
Yeah, man. I got the pictures to prove it.
I'm just picturing a Hangover style montage of you like taking pictures with Momoa as he's like, "Hey, what the hell, man? What? You help them clean it up."
Yeah,
wow,
exactly.
Dude. That's insane.
Yeah.
The more we keep asking for those party stories, the more they just keep like toppling each other. There's a there's a guest we had a few episodes ago who I guess Hugh Jackman had never had an old fashioned, so
Oh
he was
shit.
working with Hugh, and Hugh tried it, and he had this just existential moment where he doesn't want to drink the drink because somebody else drank it, but it's also Hugh Jackman, so am I going to insult him if I, so it's just it's insane. I love hearing all these
That's
stories.
funny. That's funny, man.
Before we so we're getting to the tail end of it, but I do want to ask you, do you have any sort of advice that you could give to, not only stunt performers, but people who maybe would like to get into acting, want to join the industry? Do you have anything that maybe you've learned that has been told to you that you've kind of harbored and held on to that you can share with our listeners that might help them kind of proceed into this very rigorous career we've all chosen?
Sure. Yeah. I mean, people ask me all the time, like, how do I get into stunts? And my number one thing is, if you're serious about it, you got to move to a hub. You got to be where the movies are being made. You got to be in Atlanta or LA or Canada, Vancouver. Those are the places where the movies are being made. New Mexico. So you have to go to where that's happening, where the action's at. I think my second thing is, like, you got to get your SAG card. Like, if you want to be taken seriously in this industry, some like legit money and not just the $85 a day as an extra, you got to get your SAG card. Like Screen Actors Guild, they don't. It's a lot of money, and I know it seems like a lot of money at first, but you will make that back tenfold if you just stick with it and keep doing what you're doing. And I think that leads into another point where it's just like, set a goal and just attack it with everything you have. Like, you can't be half-assed about anything. You can't have one foot in. You got to have your, both feet in, attacking it with everything you got, and put all your time, money, effort, and energy into that thing, and it will become reality. Because if you have, say, you have 10 different things going on, how do you focus on everything at once? You can't. So make a list and put everything in your control at the top and everything out of your control at the bottom, and start from the top. Handle those things first, and make a little dent in that list every single day. And I think just focus. It's as simple as that. And I think my last thing is just be good to people, be kind to people, be nice to people. Like, people will remember who you are more for being a nice person, genuine person, than being an asshole or being a diva on set.
Yeah.
I know a lot of people that their heads blow up when they become a stunt guy who's doubling a lead actor for a long time, or they get some speaking roles, or they start acting, or whatever it is. It's like, dude, stay humble. Like, you're not there yet. You're not God given. Like, stay humble, stay in your fucking lane, and just I guess have good set etiquette. I mean, that's the main thing, is like, be somebody that you want to work with. You know what I mean? Don't be a dick.
Yeah, that's come up a lot, the set etiquette thing. I think it came up the last couple of episodes too. Yeah, just I was speaking to somebody last week, and the idea of running into, say, somebody you really look up to and then being a complete dick to you. Okay, yeah, it is what it is, whatever, but that's going to follow you for the rest of your career, to the point where you're going to be, as nice as you can. So thank you for mentioning that, because I think more people need to hear that, especially the non-union actors. A lot of us who are just working on commercials and indie films, that's just going to ruin your career if you're going to be a dick to people.
Yeah. Big time.
It's going to blacklist you.
Yeah, for sure. And people are going to be like, oh, no, that guy. I'm not trying to spend 12 hours a day, 6 days, 5 days a week on set with that person.
Yeah.
You'll build a reputation for yourself real fast, which is kind of funny. And one other thing that I cannot stress enough is, like, do not lie about your skills. If you want to be a stunt guy, don't say you can do something if you cannot do something, because they will find it fast, and somebody's going to get hurt, and it's probably going to be that person that lied about it. So just be honest about what you can do.
Oh man. Yeah, that's the worst thing I could. I thought you said you could drive a manual. No, I said I read the manual for a car.
Yeah, Exactly.
I don't know how a clutch works.
Yeah, what the fuck is this?
And outside of Peacemaker, man, is there anything we can promote with this episode?
Outside of Peacemaker, I mean, we have our show Freelance that we're doing now, and it should come out. I think it's a Netflix thing. It should come out in, probably by the end of this year. It's
okay.
John Cena and Juan Pablo and Allison Brie
Oh
are the
shoot!
stars in it. Yeah, so it's going to be action comedy, and we got a lot of crazy shit going on this one. So it'll be good. I'm excited, and it sounds like they're doing a Vacation Friends 2 is in the works. So
What?
fingers crossed that that goes down at some point. Yeah.
Oh, I hope it does,
So,
man. That was a
yeah.
delightful surprise catching that on Hulu and just thinking, oh wow,
Yeah.
this is
That's
wow.
awesome. It kind of felt like another like train wreck or and that was probably one of the most fun films to film, actually, because we're in Puerto Rico and I'm literally like having to jet ski for my stunts and like having to parasail and like spend a ton of time on the beach. I'm like, this sucks. This is really
this is the worst.
Yeah. So riding horses, like, yeah, it was that was a really fun shoot. And I call it a little work vacation because I mean they got their work out of me, but I definitely got some time to chill by the pool. So it was a good one.
Oh man. Well, in that case, I hope they do Vacation Friends too. And hopefully
that's what I'm saying. Where are we going, guys?
Yeah. Is it going to be in another tropical place? Or are they going to like, I don't know, Bozeman or something? You know what I mean?
Seattle or something.
Oh God. I mean, yeah, you just enjoy the rain and that's about it. And the traffic.
Yeah, no, let's go to like Thailand or something.
Well, dude, before we start the end of the episode, I do want to thank you for coming on. It was really awesome that I sent the email. I think you got back to us in like a day, and just you were super excited. And I could tell right away like this guy's going to be super cool to chat to, because you never know when you reach out to people with unsolicited podcast emails. So
sure. Well, it came from my agent, and so I was like, oh shit, if Lily's forwarding it to me, then I'm good.
That is good.
So yeah, I trust.
We try to be professional and maintain, I am an actor. I work in the acting portion of the industry. Then my co-host, she's in theater. She's working right now, but we try to maintain our professional courtesy, but also like this would be fucking cool to get this person on the show.
Yeah, no, I appreciate it, man. This has been great.
Yeah, man. Before we let you go, we have what we call an awkward goodbye. But before I get to that, I just have to thank our listeners really quick for listening to the show, and I hope you had fun. If you really enjoy this podcast, we're going almost 2 years strong. Please just leave us a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts, and then send us an email to pwrp.pod@gmail.com so we can send you a thank you card and a sticker, which you're also getting, Spencer, for coming on the show.
Stickers, man, I love it.
Yeah, I'll send you an email, see where we should send it, since you're traveling all over the place. We'll find a spot.
I'll put it on my stunt helmet. We can go on the stunt helmet.
Badass.
Yeah. I got my little Gundam wing on there.
Holy shit. And then the Superman. Okay. Yeah, we got it. Yeah. We're gonna get that address pronto.
Yeah. Cover that thing.
That is so fucking cool. Oh God. Where was I? Holy shit. That was just awesome.
Closing out.
BTS footage of him performing a stunt, be like, that's our fucking sticker on his helmet. And if you also would like to be on this podcast, whether you're somebody who's new to the industry, you've been in it for a while, and you want to just chit chat about your career and what you think you'd like to do, please send us an email at pwrp.pod@gmail.com. Jesus, I'm getting dry mouth. But before we go and we do the awkward goodbye, we do a 3-count Wayne's World style, where I'll do it silently. Then when I point to you, you got to give us your best verbal, or some people choose to do like a non-verbal goodbye. Are you ready for it?
Yeah.
All right, man. In.
Adios, motherfuckers.